masterclass session. Welcome to your wonderful masterclass session where we are going to be learning a lot today. We are going to be learning a lot today. So my name is Stanley and I'm very, very excited to be taking you guys on today's masterclass. I can see that we have a lot of people coming in from different places in the world, and I want to see you guys and I want to know where you guys are joining in from. So please go to the comment section and tell me, where are you joining in from? Where are you joining in from? Are you joining from UK? Are you joining from US? Are you joining from Canada? Where are you joining in from? Okay, so go to the comment section and tell me, where are you joining in from? Where are you joining in from? Let me see what we have. Okay, Etim says from Uyo, Nigeria. Paise from Gambia. Wonderful. Wonderful to have you. Emmanuel, where are you joining in from? I want to hear you. Where are you joining in from? Emmanuel is from Canada. Wonderful. Do we also anyone from UK or from United States here? Where are you joining in from? All right. So my name is Stanley once again, and I'm joining and I'm going to be taking this masterclass from Nigeria. All right. So today we are going to be looking at something very, very, very important. We're going to be looking at something very nice and something very, very, very important. Right. So we are going to be looking at a short course on how to predict disease outbreak as a data analyst. How to predict disease outbreak as a data analyst or as a data analyst, right? How to predict disease outbreak as a data analyst using Excel or Power BI. How can you predict disease outbreak as a data analyst using Excel or Power BI? That is what we are going to be looking into today, right? But before we even go into that, let's look at who we are. Let's see who we are, right? So about analytics. So we are a leading health tech company that is focused on providing specialized training and technology skills and delivering comprehensive data consulting services. We have over 5 years experience now in this particular field, building talent for technology workforce, and we have helped over 4,000 people transition from their Google Classroom, from their classroom into their first job in tech across UK, US, Canada, Europe, Asia, and Africa, right? And we offer a host of other programs apart from the data analytics that you already know. Apart from data analytics, we offer business analysis, we offer data engineering, we offer DevOps engineering, product design, data science, financial analytics, social analytics, agile project management, cybersecurity, and AI engineering, right? So you see that we have a lot of skills and we have a lot of personnel to handle this course. Now, a little bit about me. My name is Stanley, and I am the Senior Data Analytics Associate for Analytics, right? So a little bit about me is that I work with data to turn complex information into meaningful insights that help drive business growth, right? And I'm also passionate about teaching and helping others build these skills, right? I have a lot of experience in marketing, in healthcare, in retail, in health tech. I have a lot of experiences in other spheres and business sectors, right? And I use tools like Python, SQL, Tableau, Power BI, and Excel, amongst other tools. Now, what are we going to be doing today? By the end of this session, you will understand how to predict disease outbreak as a data analyst using Excel or Power BI. How to predict disease outbreaks as a data analyst using Excel or Power BI. Another thing you are going to be learning at the end of this session is how to build an interactive dashboard to share your insights with key stakeholders. Okay, and then another thing we are also going to be learning at the end of this program is how we can explore pathways to becoming a data analyst. I'm going to show you how you can also explore pathways apart from being able to predict data, predict disease outbreaks, apart from being able to work with data and build a dashboard. Let's also see how you can be someone like me, how you can be someone like me that is standing here, how you can transition and how you can become a data analyst. And then finally, we're also going to be looking at how you can we're going to be diving into analytics career growth and internship program. And also, there is a special discount offer for you towards the end of this session, right? So stay with me towards the end of this session, and you are going to be able to benefit from this special program towards the end of this session. Very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. Okay, so now what are we solving today? What are we solving today? What are we solving today? Right? So today we are focusing on how data can help us detect early signs of a disease outbreak, identify where it's spreading, understand what is driving it, and also predict what might happen next so better decisions can be made. Right? Now, let us go back a little bit, last few years or so. How many of us still experienced the COVID time? How many of us still experience the COVID time? If you experience the COVID time, give me thumbs up. If you experience the COVID time during the COVID times, I want to see a thumbs up. Let me see. The COVID times or last year or last few years, if you actually experience this COVID, when COVID was a lot, when COVID was threatening the peace of the whole of the world. If you experience it, give me thumbs up. Let me see. So remember the COVID time, remember how scary it was, remember how the COVID was so scary, how everybody was running helter-skelter, looking for what to do. Information flying up and down. People don't know what is right, what is wrong. Now, what if I tell you that you could be able to detect a disease outbreak before it becomes a serious problem just by analyzing data? What if I tell you that you can detect a disease outbreak before it becomes a serious problem just by analyzing data? Okay, so that is what we are going to be looking at today. That is what we are going to be focusing on today. How you can be able to detect diseases or an outbreak before it becomes a serious problem just by looking at the data and analyzing that. Okay, so to understand this better, let's first talk about the role behind all of this, right? Let's talk about the role behind all of this. So who is a data analyst? Who is a data analyst? Who is a data analyst? So a data analyst is literally someone who works with data to uncover patterns and insights that are not immediately obvious. Okay, so someone who collects, clean, and analyze data and then present it in a way that supports decision making. So somebody like this is somebody that works with organizations that collects their data, analyze the data, and be able to give insights that can be able to help drive business growth for that organization. So instead of guessing, organizations rely on data analysts to do what? To make informed decisions, right? So now let's bring this into a real world context now. Let's bring it into what we are going to be looking at today. So how can we apply data analytics in disease outbreak control? So first of all is by tracking disease trends over time. So analysts monitor how these diseases increase or decrease over days or weeks, and then helping you to understand whether a situation is improving or getting worse. Also, you can be able to identify outbreak hotspots. So by analyzing data, it becomes easier to pinpoint cities or regions where the disease is most concentrated. And then also, we can be able to understand causes of the spread, right? So data can be able to review patterns and relationships such as some factors that might influence the spread of this disease. And then finally, we can also be able to support clear insights, right? Support clear insights, which is with clear insights, support faster response and planning, which is with clear insights, health organizations can take timely action, allocate resources effectively, and prevent further escalation, right? So all these are ways that we can be able to apply data analytics in disease control, right? So one of the tools data analysts use to do this effectively is Power BI. One of the tools that data analysts use to do this, to analyze data, to collect this data, to clean this data, to be able to derive insight from this data, and to be able to visualize it to stakeholders so that they can be able to make informed decision. One of the most important tools that they use to do this is what is Power BI. Now, that now comes to the next question. What is Power BI? Okay, so Power BI is a very powerful data analysis and visualization tool developed by Microsoft that allow users to connect to data, to transform it, and create interactive dashboards, right? So it helps simplify complex data by presenting it in a visual and easy to understand format. So with Power BI, analysts can be able to explore trends, compare different variables, and be able to also generate insights in real time, right? So we've looked at a lot of things. We've looked at the basics. Now let's dive into the real project of what we are going to be doing today, right? So let's dive into the real project of what we are going to be doing today. Who is ready for this? Who is ready for this? Who is ready for this? Right? Now, let's dive into what we are going to be doing today. Okay, so this is an overview of what we're going to be doing, right? So a national public health agency that works in collaboration with international organizations such as the WHO. We all know the World Health Organization. So this national public health agency is responsible for monitoring and responding to flu outbreaks across major cities in Nigeria. Now, for people that don't know what flu is, so flu or influenza is a communicable disease, a respiratory disease that spread and that affects the nose, the throat, and even sometimes the lungs also, right? So it can spread from one person to another just by coughing or droplets of cough or sneeze or reaching you, or maybe touching an infected place and then touching your face. All these things are ways that you can be able to contact this flu or influenza, right? So that is that about flu and influenza. Now, this particular agency is working hand in hand with the WHO to monitor and respond to flu outbreaks across the major cities in Nigeria. So due to increasing urbanization and population movement, the risk of rapid flu transmission has become a greater concern. So the organization collects data from hospitals, regional health offices, and other reports to track early signs of outbreak. So to improve response time and reduce the spread, the agency is leveraging data analytics to move from reactive reporting to proactive detection and intervention, right? So what is the problem of this agency? So in recent weeks, there has been a noticeable increase in reported flu cases across several cities. So, however, the organization lacks clear visibility into where the outbreak is intensifying, how it is spreading between cities, and what factors might be contributing to this increase. So without these insights, it becomes even difficult to take timely and targeted action to contain the outbreak, right? So this is the present problem of this particular agency. They lack clear visibility into where this outbreak is, which particular city is most affected, and what factors that can also be contributing to this increase. So these are the business questions. So The agency has engaged the data analytics team to provide data-driven insights. So they need clear answers to the following. So they want to answer this particular question. So they want answers on whether flu cases have been increasing over time. They want answers on which cities are currently the most affected. They want answers on how is the outbreak spreading across locations. They want answers on what factors might be contributing to this spread of flu, and also what is likely to happen in the near future if current trends continue. So this is where we not just look at the flu and look at cities or locations that is being affected, but also try and predict the outcome of what is going to happen in the near future, given the data that we already have. So this is all that we are going to be doing today, right? So this is all that we are going to be doing today. So now, just to also let you know, the tools that we're going to be using, the data that we're going to be using, everything that we're going to be using is always made available for you alone. All right. So all you need to do is, I believe my colleague has already dropped the link on the comment section, right? So you go to the comment section and click on the link and follow through that link. Follow through that link to get access on all the recordings, all the materials, and everything that we're going to be using for today's session, right? So when you get access to this record, when you get access to everything, you come down here to click to download the data set. You come down here to what? Click to download the data set that we're going to be using, right? Okay, and if you also want to download Power BI, this is also where you click to watch how you can download Power BI and have it on your system, okay? So if you want to follow through with this, most of the things I'm going to be doing here is going to be on Power BI. So if you don't have Power BI already, you can just click on it and download it to your system, and then also click on the data set and download the data set. Remember, just follow through the link that is being sent on the comment section right now and have access to all these things, the materials, the data sets, the recording of this particular session, so that you can also be able to follow through. All right? And then this is what we are going to be doing. See the transformation, see the wonderful transformation that we're going to be doing today, right? So you can see the data set here by the left-hand side. You can see it's just mostly numbers and words. Okay, looking at this data set already, it's very, very hard to be able to understand what is going on. It's very hard to understand what this particular data is telling you. But we are going to transform it using Power BI from what you have on this left-hand side to what you have in this right-hand side, the clean format that you have on this right-hand side, right? So that's what we're going to be doing very, very soon. And here is the report, right? So here is the report. Now, let me walk you through the data set also. Let me walk you through the data set also. Let me walk you through the data set also, right? So this is data set. This is data set. So when you download the data set, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see the date column, the city column, the new cases column. Give me a moment. You're going to see the new cases column, the total cases. So total cases are just the total cases that was had. And then you see the mobility index, temperature, humidity. All these things are data that was collected to be able to analyze these rising flu cases in these cities so that we can be able to make informed decision and be able to predict what is going to happen next. Now, let's jump over to Power BI and let's start analyzing this data, right? Let's jump over to Power BI and let's start analyzing this data. We are going to have fun, really. Trust me, we are going to have fun. We are going to have fun. Soren said, should we download the data set on Power BI in the class here? So just like I said before, the data set on Power BI, all the materials is made available for you just by going to the link that was pasted on the comment section. So go to the link and you're going to have access to everything, even this particular recording that I am recording right now, because this particular session is also recorded. So you're going to be able to have access to everything, and you can follow everything through step by step. Okay, so when you get to Power BI, this is probably what you're going to be seeing, something like this. You're probably going to be seeing something like this. So all you need to do is go to blank reports. Okay, so go to blank reports and you're going to see this. Right now, the next thing we want to do right now is to get our data. Is to what? Is to get our data. Okay, so the data we have is, so when you download your data sets, it's probably going to be in your downloads folder, right? So when you come under this home tab, you are going to click on get data, right? Get data. Okay, so you click on this get data, and it's now going to bring up a window that is going to ask you, where do you want to get this data from, right? So our data is in form of a CSV file, okay? So our data is not an Excel file, it is a CSV file. So all you need to do is just click on text/CSV. Click on text/CSV, right? Click on text/CSV and then connect. You come down here and click on connect, right? And then when you click on connect, it's now going to bring up where you have this particular data set. So select where you have the data set. It's probably going to be in your downloads, right? So select it and then click on open, right? Select it and then click on open, and then give it a moment for Power BI to do its magic, right? So just give it a moment. Power BI is always going to do its magic. So give it a moment, and Power BI is going to bring up that same data that we have on Excel. And here you can see the data just like we had it on Excel, just like I showed you, right? So what you're going to be doing, of course, we can as well load this data immediately into our Power BI, but we don't want to load it first. We want to transform it. We want to look at it to make sure everything is as it is supposed to be. So you come down here and click on transform data. You come down here and click on transform data, right? So click on transform data, and it's going to take you to this Power Query. It's going to take you to this Power Query. Let me share that. It's going to take you to this Power Query also. It's going to take you to this Power Query. Good. So it's going to take you to this Power Query. So this is where we can do the transformation, do whatever we want to do with the data, right? So we are going to look at this. You are going to see that this data is the same thing that we have here. Everything is the same, right? So let's go back again to the Power Query and let's look at how we can transform this data. So first of all, this date is like an ABC, it's like a text. Okay, so Power BI is detecting it as a text. So we need to what? We need to convert it to a proper date format. We need to what? Convert it to a proper date format. So what do? We come to where you have that ABC, click on it, and then we can convert it to a date right here, but I want to convert it using local, okay? So when you click on this, you come down here to using local, and then select using local, right? Select using local, and then give it a moment. A window is going to pop up, okay? So now this window has popped up. We just change the data type here from text to a date, and then on the local, very, very important, you change the location. If yours is in United Kingdom, no problem, but I want to change my location to United Kingdom. I want to change my location to United Kingdom. So I'm selecting United Kingdom, and then I click OK. If yours is in United Kingdom, no problem. If yours is in any other location, just to make sure that the date is correctly passed in Power BI, you change it to United Kingdom and then click OK. And then you can now see that the date is properly formatted right now. You can see that the date is properly formatted. Okay, now let's look at all the other columns. City is like ABC, which is a text. So let's leave it the way it is. New cases is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so new cases is a number, a whole number. 1, 2, 3 means a whole number. So Power BI is detecting it as a whole number, which is correct. This other one, total cases, is also as a whole number. Mobility index is as a decimal. You can see 1.2, which is as a decimal, which is good. So let's leave it the way it is. Temperature, the same thing. Humidity, the same thing. Let's keep on moving. Healthcare capacity, the same thing. And also vaccination rates, the same thing. So everything looks good. Everything looks good. Now it's time to now load this into our Power BI. It's now time to what? To take this into our Power BI. So how do we do that? Under your Home tab, the first ribbon you're going to see there is Close and Apply. Okay, so click on Close and Apply. Click on Close and Apply, and then wait for it to show on your Power BI, right? So now it's going to load it to our Power BI. Very, very easy. From our Power Query, we've now migrated everything to Power BI. And now you can now see that our data is very much represented on the right-hand side here. So on the right-hand side, we're going to see the data pane, see the data is here. And here you also see the visualizations that we are going to be using, the visualizations pane, right? So on top of here, you have the ribbons that you are going to be using when you need them, right? So now here is the data. Now let's take a look at this data, whether everything is properly loaded. I come to the table view here, and yes, you can see everything is properly loaded. You can see everything is properly loaded, right? So everything is good to go. So we can now start answering these questions. We can now start answering these questions for the business, right? We can now start answering these questions for the business. So the first thing we want to do is let's go back to our dashboard and let's see how it was before. So we can see how this dashboard is. So we probably need to create a little bit of framework or a little bit of wireframe of how the dashboard is going to be before we start answering the questions, right? So let's go back and let's start creating. So the next thing I want to do is I want to bring in a sidebar, right? So you come under Insert, you come to the Insert tab, you come to the Insert tab here. So just click on it and it's going to pop up. You come here to the shapes, okay? So I want to insert a shape, okay? So I choose a rectangle like this, and then you can have a rectangle like this. You can have a rectangle like this. Let me take this somewhere down here. You can have a rectangle like this, okay? So now I move it very closely to the edge, and then let me just shape it a little bit to make it look better, like a sidebar, right? So I'm giving it a sidebar. So that is the rectangle. So that is it for the rectangle. Now, the next thing I want to do, this is not the color I want. I want this particular color to be white, right? So I want this particular color of this rectangle to be white. But before then, there is something we didn't do. So before you even build this rectangle, let's change the color of this canvas, this particular canvas, as this whole place, okay? So let's give it another color so that our dashboard is going to pop out. So I'm just going to click on any of this empty space, go to the visualizations pane here by the right-hand side, click on this format your report page, and then come down here to wallpaper, open it up. You can see that the color is white, just like we have here. But now I want to change it to something else. So I'm just going to click on this. Here, you can now pick any color that you want for your background. But I'm going to use a distinct color I'm not going to click on more colors, and then I'm going to select this particular color, right? This particular color with the hex code. So this particular code is also made available for you in the material that is going to be going out after this. Okay, so please make sure that you follow through the link that is being dropped on the comment section so that you can be able to have access to everything that we are doing, right? So this particular code is also available for you there, right? So this code is what we are going to use to just change the background of this color of this dashboard a little bit, right? So now I've changed the background. Let me change this particular rectangle to white. I want it to be white in color. So I come down here to I click on the shape, click on it, go to the style, right? So I want to style it differently. I open it up, and then you can see the color is blue here. So I'm just going to change it to white. Okay, so when you click on white, you can see that the white is set. But then you can see this blue background that is beside the rectangle. So I want to change it, okay? So also under that style, you're going to see the border, right? So click on the border, open up the border and change the color of the border from blue to white, right? So we now have a white shape and a white border. So you can see we are coming together slowly. So the next thing I want to do is I want to duplicate this particular shape, okay? So I just do Control C, Control V, Control C to copy it, and then Control V to paste it again. So we now have two. You can see I have this, okay? So the next thing I want to do is to just move this particular shape up here, okay? So just reshape it and then send it somewhere up here, right? So you can now have this and then also have this, right? So this is coming together nicely, right? So the next thing I want to do is to bring in a name of our dashboard, right? Because we cannot have a dashboard without a name, right? You can't build any dashboard without a name. So let's bring in the name. So go to the insert again. Okay, I want to insert a text box. So go to the insert tab again and then select text box. Select text box. So in this text box now, let's give the text box has opened. So let's just start writing. So let's say we want to write the name of this particular dashboard, or let's say the name of the agency. So National Public Health Agency, right? National Public Health Agency. I'm not going to highlight everything, make it bigger. So make it like 16, okay? Make it to the center. And what else? Maybe bolding it also to make it look better, right? So now let me resize it to make it small. So come to the edges of the text box. You're going to see this resizing icon, right? So just resize it and resize it a little bit. And let's take it somewhere here. So let me resize it again, make it smaller. And then take it somewhere here, right? So now you have a text box, right? You now have a text box. Okay, so let me bring it down a little bit. Okay, so this is good. You now have a text box, right? So now let's also keep on building, right? So let's insert another text box again. So if you don't know how we did the other one, you can just see how we are going to do this second one. So I'm going to click on the text box again. And also, let me also write in something else. Let's say, welcome to your dashboard, right? Welcome to your dashboard. Now let me highlight it also, make it bold. What else? Maybe increase the font a little bit, make it 12. Then resize it again, make it smaller this time around. I want to make it smaller. And then I want to send it on top of this place. So when you want to drag your text box, when you hover around it, you're going to see these three dots, right? So hold it and then move. and then let's add it somewhere here, right? So you can now see that our dashboard is coming together one by one. So let's go back again to the slide and see what we have. You can see the National Public Health Agency. You can also see the welcome note. Now, let's build the KPIs before we start answering the questions, right? Let's build the KPIs, okay? So KPIs are key performance indicators that help us to know whether we are doing well or whether we are not doing well. Okay, it helps us to track and measure the key things that we want to see in our dashboard. So in this case, we are looking at analyzing flu cases in different cities. So we want to make sure, once a KPI that we can be able to look at and see whether cases are growing, whether cases are not growing, how many cases we have now, and let's say something else like which state or which city is most affected. So all these things are what we want to be able to see and track. And that is what we are going to be building right now. Okay, so the first thing I want to also build is to calculate the total cases that we have. Okay, so remember this particular analysis is to be able to uncover and be able to predict disease outbreak. So for this flu, let's look at the number of cases that we have. Okay, let me also show you the table to see. So you see the new cases and then you also see the total cases. So here I want to calculate the total cases. But then also look very carefully. You're going to see that the total cases here is more like a it's more like a cumulative of the new cases. Now, let me break it down. Let me just filter it to a particular city so that you can see. Let me filter it sort ascending. So you can see in this case, you are going to see 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. You can see that the total cases here is a cumulative of everything. So whatever cases we have for the previous day, you add it to the one that we have for the new day, and that is how the total cases are from all the way to the end here. So at the end, we have 1,400 cases in Abuja, for example. Okay, so we are going to now calculate these total cases, right? So because these total cases, we are not just going to do a sum, because if you are going to sum it, that means you are going to sum both the total and everything here. So you're just basically going to be doing double counting, right? But we don't want to do double count. We just want to get this last total case that we have here. All right. So that's that for this. So let me just clear all the filters again. Let's start calculating this. All right. Let's start calculating this. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to come over here to the data pane by the right-hand side, click on it, and then come here to new measure. Okay, so I'm going to click on new measure, and let's start doing the calculation. Okay, so new measure is what we use if you want to calculate, right? So the first thing I want to do is to get the total cases, right? So I'm just going to write total underscore cases equals to, and now I'm going to start doing what? Doing the calculation. So I'm just going to sum the expression. I'm going to use sum x. So sum x of the values. So for the values, I'm going to bring out the city that we have. Okay, bring out the city that we have. And then for the expression, I'm just going to calculate the marks of our total cases, right? So the marks of our total cases. So we're going to select the data set, okay, and then close the bracket and then hit enter. Now, don't be worried about all these darks, right? Don't be worried. Don't be afraid, okay? So I know you might probably be looking at this and be thinking, how am I going to write all this? So don't be afraid of that, okay? Just like I told you before, the darks, the formulas, everything has been made available for you in this material. So all you need to do to follow through with this is to go to the comment section, and click on the link that my colleague has already been dropping on the comment section. Follow through with that link, and then you can be able to have access to all this and even the formulas. Okay, so that's that for total cases. Now let's visualize it. So to visualize the total cases, I'm just going to come here on the visualizations and just select this KPI card, right? So this KPI card here, this one that has a lightning bolt, right? So I'm going to click on it. Oh, it's so big. So I'm just going to minimize it, make it a little bit smaller, right? And then just keep it somewhere here. And then I'm just going to check in my total cases. I can just drag it or I can just check it. Okay, these total cases that we calculated, I can just drag it inside this place. Okay, I drag it inside here and release. You are going to see the total cases. Wonderful. You are going to what? See the total cases. You are going to see the total cases. You are going to see the total cases. You are going to see the total cases, right? So now you have the total cases. The next thing we want to now create is, let's say we want to see the new cases that we have. We want to see the total new cases that we have. So just like we've done before, click on the data pane and then click on new measure, right? So just select new measure and let's say new underscore cases equals to, so for new cases, we're just going to be summing everything in case to see all the new cases, okay? So we're just going to do sum of the new cases, close bracket and hit enter. Okay, so we're just going to, okay, so we're just going to, we've now calculated the sum. Okay, so we've calculated the sum of the new cases. So the next thing I want to do now is, now the sum is not really enough for us to know what is happening. We've seen that the total number of cases of this influenza, okay, or flu, as I might call it. So you can see that the total number of cases for this flu is 7,000 cases. So we've had 7,000 cases in this data set on flu, right? So now we want to see something else. We want to see the total number of new cases in the last 7 days, for example, okay? So we want to see in the last 7 days, how many cases have we gotten? Okay, so this is very, very important because we are not just looking at the total cases we have. We also want to see whether these cases are slowing down or whether these cases are actually rising fast and fast. So we want to see in the last 7 days, what is the total number of cases that we've had? Okay, so how do we calculate this? Right? So we're just going to create a new measure again. Okay, so we're going to name this new underscore cases, and then let's say 7 days, right? New underscore cases, 7 days. Okay, so we want to see the number of new cases we have in the last 7 days, right? We want to see the number of new cases that we had in the last 7 days. So the new underscore cases is equals to calculate. So I'm just going to use the calculate function. So calculate for the expression, we're just going to use the sum of the new cases, right? The sum of the new cases, comma. Now for the filter, I want to filter in the last 7 days. So from the last day to the last 7 days, we want to filter within this interval, the last 7 days. So I'm just going to use a dating period. Where is it? Where is it? Dates. Yeah, dating period. So we are going to select the dating period and we are going to select the dates that we have in our data set. Select it, comma, and then it's going to ask us for, give me a moment. It's going to ask us for the start date. So the start date is marks that as the last date that we have. So just select the last date and then comma. The number of intervals is the last 7 days. So just write -7. -7 indicates that it is the last 7 days. And then the interval is in day. Okay, so that's that. And just close the brackets that you have and then click enter. Click enter on your keyboard and then you are going to have the last 7 days. So let's visualize this. So let me bring in a card again. Let me put it somewhere here. Okay, so let me put it somewhere here now. So now let me visualize the last 7 days, the number of cases we had in the last 7 days. So I'm just going to check this, and then you can now see we've had 2 case sales in the last 7 days. Okay, so what is this now telling you? Just by looking at this, you can be able to see that we have 7,000 cases overall, and in the last 7 days, we're able to have 2,000 cases in the last 7 days. So that tells you that this particular this particular disease outbreak is actually still rising high. It's actually still moving at a very fast pace. Now, let's also look at the growth rates. So the growth rate you want to see here is how this disease has been growing, how it has been growing day on day. Okay, so you want to see today and tomorrow, how many cases we had yesterday, and what's the percentage, what's the growth rate, how is it going day by day, right? So I'm just going to create a new measure again. So click on the data again and then create a new measure. So for this new measure, we are going to be naming it growth rate. We are going to be naming it growth rate. We are going to be naming it growth rate, right? So growth rate is equals to, now we now start writing the function for this. So we're just going to create a variable. So variable, let's say current case, variable current case is equals to the sum of the new cases that we have, right? And then also, let's also calculate the previous day case. Okay, so let's say previous case is equals to, so now we calculated the present day case. Now let's calculate the previous day case. So we're going to use the calculate function. We're going to use the calculate function. For the expression, we're going to use the sum again of the new cases, sum of the new cases. And then for the filter, because we want to filter it to what happened yesterday. So we want to filter it to the cases that happened yesterday or the previous day. We're going to use date add, right? So for the filter, we're going to use date add, and then we are going to select the date also, and then comma. So for the interval, we're just going to do -1, okay, -1 in days, -1 in days, and then close the brackets. And then we've calculated the present day, we've calculated the previous day. Now let's calculate the growth rate. So the growth rate is just the present day case minus the previous day case divided by the previous day case, so that you can be able to get the growth rate. Okay, so I'm just going to write in the return. So the return function is, we're now going to now divide. Okay, so I'm going to use the divide function. So for divide, the numerator is the current case, the one that we just created, the variable that we created, minus the previous case that we just created, and the denominator is now the previous case. Okay, so alternate result, just give it 0. Just alternate result 0, close bracket. So what we just did here is the present day case minus previous day case divided by the previous day case, and that's all. Hit enter. we hit enter, and then because it's a growth rate, we need to convert it to percentage. So up here, you can be able to convert it to percentage. Just click on this, and it's converted to percentage, right? Click on that, and it's converted to percentage. All right. So now the next thing we now want to do is to visualize it also. So bring in a card again. Place it somewhere here, and let's visualize this. Okay, so let's bring in the growth rate. So let me just drag it inside here, and you can see the growth rate is 4%. 4%. So what does that tell you? That means we have a growth rate of 4% every day. Every day, the flu cases, the flu outbreak is growing by 4% every day. Okay, so the next thing we want to calculate now is to see, let's say we want to see the city that is most affected by this outbreak, right? We want to see the city that is most affected by the outbreak. Okay, so for here, we just want to bring in a card. Okay, we want to bring in a card visual here also. So let's make this a little bit small. Okay, let's adjust this because I want this card visual to fit in here. So let's make these ones a little bit small. Let's make these ones a little bit small. Okay, let's see. Okay, still couldn't be able to fit in. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, something like this. Good. So we have the KPI now being fitted. So we have the KPI. So we want to bring in the city that is most affected. So what do? I bring in the city. So I can bring in the city here, or I can even bring it on these values or this values section, or I can just stick it, or I can just bring it here. So I just bring it, no, not like this. So let me just bring it to the values. So bring it to the values here, right? So it's going to show you the first city, but this is not what we want. We want not the first city. We want what? The city that is most affected, okay? So we want to filter this based on city that is most affected. Okay, so you come to this filters pane and bring in that city again, take it in here, and then change the filter type from basic filtering to top N, okay? So bring in the top N and then put in 1 here because once the topmost city based on the cases, the new cases that we have, okay? So based on the cases, want the topmost, that's why we have this top N, and it is 1. But we're not done yet. We want to filter the topmost city based on what? Based on the new cases, based on the total cases that we have. So we also bring in the total cases that we calculated, okay? The one that you calculated, bring it inside this value, and then add it here. And then you can now see we're filtering the city based on the topmost city by total cases. So the city that has the highest number of cases is going to appear here. So you just come down here and click on apply filter. Okay, when you apply filter, you are going to see that Lagos is the highest city that has the highest disease outbreak, right? So you see, this is so much fun to walk around and calculate. Okay, so I can just change this to, let's say, I can just change the naming to, let's say, most affected, yeah, most affected city, right? So leave it as most affected city, right? Most affected city, right? So now we have the KPIs. Now let's start answering the business questions. So let's go back a little bit and let's see what the business questions is all about. So remember, we have business questions that we're working with. So the first one was, the agency wants to know, are flu cases increasing over time? are flu cases increasing over time? So here they want to see whether cases have been growing or whether cases have been declining, right? So that is what we want to see right now. So let's move back to our our dashboard, and let's build this visual. So let's bring in a line chart because we want to visualize trend. We're going to bring in a line chart. Okay, so come to this visualization, and then we're going to select this line chart. Look for it, you're going to see it here. Click on it, and you have the line chart. So let's just shape it to how we want it to look. Let's see, something like this. Something like this is okay. Okay, so this is the line chart. So the next thing is to now bring in the visuals that we need. Okay, to bring in the visuals that we need. So come to the right-hand side, we're going to see the dates. Okay, open up the dates, and then open up the date hierarchy too. And then you're going to be able to see the year, month, quarter, and day, right? So now you click on the line chart, make sure the line chart is selected, and then come to the right-hand side. You drag the day, take the day to the x-axis so that we can be able to see it on the x-axis here. And then drag the new cases that we've calculated, drag it to the y-axis, and then you can see this visual. Immediately, Power BI is going to what? It's going to visualize everything for you. Okay, so you see this is more like drag and drop. Okay, so just dragging the new cases, dragging the day, so that we can be able to visualize this. So by looking at this already, you can see that the trend is going up, that the new cases is going up. Every day, new cases are increasing day by day. So here you can already see the extent of the cases that we have on ground for this organization, right? So new cases are increasing day by day, right? So now let's move on. Let's also keep on answering questions. So the next one is, which city are currently most affected, right? And then another one is, how is the outbreak spreading across locations? We've already seen which city is currently most affected. Now let's answer this one. How is the outbreak spreading across locations? So we want to see how the outbreak is spreading across different locations, okay? So we've seen the trend, that the trend is on an upward movement. You've seen the direction of where this cases is going, that this outbreak is actually moving up and up and up. Now let's see the locations where these cities, the locations, and how this outbreak has been distributed into different locations. So what do? We bring in a matrix. Okay, so here we can see a matrix. So select it, and this is the matrix. So probably need to just make it look, sorry about that. So make it look better. So let me just bring it down a little bit. Okay, so this is the matrix. Make sure you are selecting the matrix and not the table. So you have the matrix. The next thing is to bring in the rows, okay, and the columns. So for the rows, I want the city. So drag the city to the rows here. Okay, so we have the cities that are in our data set. Now drag the days to the columns so that we can be able to see every day how the outbreak has been counted for every day and for every city. Okay, so you have the day now, you have the day, you have the city, but something is missing. We can't be able to see how many cases do we have in each city and in every day. So what do? We drag in the new cases. We drag in the new cases on these values. Okay, so drag it in and put it on these values, and then just like that, we are going to see that the new cases has been populated, right? But that's not enough because what we are seeing here is still numbers. It's somehow hard to be able to read these numbers and know which one is actually doing well or where cities are doing well or where the outbreak is doing well or not. It's actually very, very hard because these are numbers. So what do? We are just going to visualize it in a way that makes it easier to understand. So also making sure that this particular table is selected, you come to this format your visual in this visualization pane, and then scroll down to cell elements. Go to cell elements, open it up, and then you're going to see this background color. You are probably going to need to check it on. It is off. Now check it on, and then you are going to see now that we now have a good overview of how the uh, outbreaks have been distributed in different cities and in every day. So what I want to do is to remove this total. So I'm just going to come here and uncheck column totals and row totals, right? And then I probably need to increase this width so that it is bigger and visible. So let me come to grid, and then come down to options here. The row padding is on 1, so just increase it a little bit. Okay, so I'm just increasing it, increasing it, increasing it, increasing it. Okay, so this is better. So leave it at row padding 8, and then you can be able to visualize this. Now, just by looking at this, you are already seeing something. You are already seeing something. Just by looking at this, you are already seeing something. You are already seeing something. So let me just interpret this heat map. Now, the darker the color, the more intense the values. Okay, so just to say that the darker the color, the more the outbreaks for each particular city. Okay, so you can now see here, looking at this, that Lagos has the highest outbreak. Okay, if you look at this properly, let me also zoom it in. If you look at this properly, you can be able to see that Lagos has the highest outbreak because that has the darkest cell value here. Okay, but then notice something. Notice something. We already know that Lagos, if you look at Lagos, you can already see that Lagos is already dark, even from the beginning already. You can see moving along, you can see that the more as the day goes by, the outbreaks are increasing day by day in Lagos. So that tells you that this is actually where the outbreak started. So this tells you that this is where the outbreak for this flu that we are calculating and analyzing, this is where the outbreak started. It started in Lagos. But then notice something. Notice something. Now look at Abuja, for example. Look at Abuja, which is this first row. Look at Abuja, for example. I want to know whether you can be able to notice something there. So in the first 12 days, or let's say in the first 10 days, everything looks normal. Everything looks moderate or like relatively normal. Everything looks normal. In the first 10, 11 days, everything looks normal. But then suddenly, around this 12th, 13th day, you now start to see a sharp increase. You now start to see a sharp increase of outbreak. Okay, so this shows you that this is the moment, around this area is the moment that the outbreak began in Abuja. That tells you something that is very, very, very important. So you can see already outbreak started in Lagos because of how dark this cell is. But then over time, the outbreak has been able to move from just Lagos to Abuja, and we can now see that Abuja has started getting darker and darker. This is what the data tells us, right? So this is what the data tells us. So that tells us everything that we even need to know. That outbreaks like this, they don't just happen everywhere. They start from somewhere and then they spread. They start from somewhere and then they spread. And looking at this, you already see just by looking at this that it started in Lagos, but it has now gotten to Abuja. And if we leave this Abuja moving the way it is, it's going to be just like the way Lagos is. And who knows, very, very soon, it's going to move on to other parts of the city. Okay? So that is what we can be able to see just by looking at this. You see how beautiful, how wonderful Power BI is. You see how sweet and how wonderful it is to just looking at this and be able to understand what the data is telling you. Okay, so if I call anyone here, they can be able to just look at this and tell you this is what the data is telling us. Okay, so now you've seen what we've done so far. We've been able to calculate and understand that this disease is increasing over time, and we're able to see that Lagos is the most affected city and Abuja is quietly following up with this outbreak, and Abuja is getting this outbreak gradually. And now let's now look at what is actually causing this outbreak. What is the driving factor? What is actually causing this? What is actually the main reason why this outbreak is coming up? What is actually causing this outbreak? And that is what we want to answer now. Okay, so you can now see it here. What factors might be contributing to the spread of this flu, right? So that is what we want to do. What factors might be contributing to the increase and the spread of this flu? So how do we calculate this? Because we want to calculate two variables, we want to see how different variables relate with each other. We're going to use a scatter plot, right? So I'm just going to add in a scatter plot here. I'm just going to move it a little bit. Okay, so give me a moment. Let me just reshape this. Wonderful. So let me just make this a little bit bigger, and yeah, so this is nice. Okay, so this is the scatter plot now. So let's start looking at the new cases as well as the other factors that we have in our data set to be able to see what could we say is the driving force or the key driver that is causing this disease to spread. Okay, before I do that, let's also go back to the table and also show you what we have here. You can see, aside from the total and the new cases, we have mobility index. This is also a factor. We have temperature. This is a likely factor. We have humidity, also likely factor. We have healthcare capacity, likely factor 2. We have vaccination rates, likely factor 2. So all these are likely factors, but we don't know which one is which. We don't know which one can we say is causing the spread of this disease. So that is what we want to see now in our visual. Okay, so I'm just going to select the scatter plot, right? I'm going to select the scatter plot, right? I'm going to select the scatter plot. So the next thing I'm going to do is now to bring in the new cases. So the new cases that we've calculated, add it to the y-axis. You can see it here. And then on the x-axis now, let's start testing different factors that we have to see whether there is a strong relationship between the new cases and these other factors. Okay, so we bring in, before that, let's bring in the day to the value section here. So bring in the day, drag it to the values. And then let's now start testing our variables. So let's bring in vaccination rates and bring it to the x-axis. And then I think we probably might need a legend. So that we can also be able to see how each of these. So let's bring in a city So let me scroll down. So this is the legend. So let's bring in the city as the legend. So it's going to now demarcate for us which city is which. So looking at this already, there is no clear relationship between the new cases and the vaccination rate. So that shows that there is no clear relationship here. So let's remove vaccination rates. Let's test another variable. Let's bring in temperature and bring it to the x-axis. Temperature slightly shows you that there is a slight relationship, but then it's still not very, very, very connected. Okay. So you can see the temperature shows you a small relationship, but it's not very, very connected. Of course, it is not still clear. The pattern is not clear. Okay. We are looking for a clear pattern that shows strong relationship between the new cases and the factors. Okay. So let's remove the temperature again. Let's bring in something else. Let's test healthcare capacity. Bringing healthcare capacity, this also does not show us what we want, right? So there is no clear correlation here. So I'm not going to remove it. Let's test something. Let's test in humidity. Bring in humidity. Still not what we want. Okay. So this is still not what we want here, right? This is still not what we want, right? So let's remove it. And then let's now bring in mobility index. Then perfect. Perfect. So now we can see that there is a very strong relationship between mobility index and new cases. So mobility index is just an index that calculates movement of people from place to place. So what does this scatter plot now tells you? It tells you that the way it's going high, it tells you that as mobility index increases, the new cases also increase. So mobility index is from the left to right. So let me open this up. Okay, good. Mobility index is from the left to right, and then new cases is from down to up. So as we are increasing mobility index, you are going to see that new cases are also increasing. So let's say we stop here and test. We stop at 160 and test. You can see that it is also increasing. If we move to 180 and test the new cases, they are increasing. If you move to 200 and test the new cases, they are increasing. So that means as we move, the more people are moving, the more likely that there are going to be new cases of this outbreak. Okay, so now that tells us something. As mobility is increasing, cases is also increasing, right? So that suggests that the movement of people might be a key driver of this outbreak. Okay, so this is a very, very, very strong signal, right? So here we can be able to see that mobility is the key driver of this outbreak. Isn't this wonderful? Like, just by doing all these things in Power BI, you can be able to see insights, understand, see what your data is telling you, right? And this is it. Okay, so now, so far, we've been able to see how the cases have been going, the city that is most affected, and then also the key driver to this outbreak. Now, let's see how we can be able to predict what is going to happen. Let's see how we can be able to predict what is likely going to happen given our data. Okay, so how do you make this prediction? How do we forecast this? Okay, Power BI also has this forecast option where you can be able to forecast and see the future, what can be able to happen in the future if the current trend continues. So how do we do this? Let's use this line chart, right? So click on the line chart, and then come to this visualizations pane. You select this further analysis to your visual, click on it, and then scroll down. You're going to see forecasts. we're going to see forecast. So I want you to just tick it on. Tick it, flip the switch and just flip the switch on. When you flip the switch, what happens here? Watch what happens here. And then you can see the prediction that was given, what is going to happen. Now let's do more and let's also open up this forecast. And then let's forecast for the next 14 days. Okay. Let's forecast for the next 14 days. And then this is the forecast for the next 14 days. So from here, you can now see that based on this forecast, we can see that the upward trend is going to continue. The upward trend is going to continue. So we are expecting to also be seeing more and more cases in the near future. And then remember, we've been able to see that mobility is a key driver here. So if mobility keeps on increasing, then we are also going to expect that the new cases are also going to keep on improving. And that is what we have here. And that is the prediction. Okay, so that is wonderful. We can be able to now see everything that we've been able to analyze. Okay, so that's that for this. So far we've gotten the trend. We're able to see cities or locations where these outbreaks has been mostly affected, and then we've also been able to see the factor or the key driver that is causing this outbreak, and then also be able to predict what is going to happen if this continues to be like this. And then we're able to predict that this trend is also going to keep on increasing, right? So that is that for the forecast. Now we can also add some other things here to make our dashboard look much better. So we can add slicer. So let's say I want to add in a slicer or a filter. Okay, I can call it a slicer, I can call it a filter. So just come in here under the visualizations pane and click on slicer. So this is going to come up. This particular thing is going to come up. So let's say I want to slice by city. So I'm just going to check city. Then you have this slicer like this. But I don't want it to be like this. Or maybe I just want it to be like this. Or maybe I don't want it to be like this. I want it to be like a drop down. So I just come here to the visualizations pane, click on format for visual, and then click on slicer setting and change it from vertical list to drop down. And then you have something like this. So we can now move it and put it somewhere here. Good. So you now have a slicer like this. Now let's also add in another slicer. Okay, so let's also add in one more. So for this slicer, let's say I want to see by date, by day. Okay, so let's say I want to be able to filter this dashboard by day. Okay, I can bring in day here, right? And then also make it a little bit smaller. And then bring it somewhere here. And then you now have your slicer. So what does this slicer do? So let's say I come in here and I want to see how I want to slice this whole dashboard by Abuja, for example. So I want to see everything that is related to Abuja in this dashboard. When I click on it, I can now see that, oh, Abuja has 1,000 cases. The last 7 days, they've been able to record 330 cases, and their growth rate is 4.40%. And you can be able to see the prediction that is being given for Abuja. You can be able to also see the relationship between the mobility and the new cases. So everything is filtered. So let's say I don't want Abuja, I want Ibadan, for example. I click on Ibadan, and then you can also see the details for Ibadan. And then I can click on Kano, I can click on Lagos, I can click on Port Harcourt, and everything is what? Filtered. So you see, everything is filtered. And that is the beauty of the Power BI dashboard. That is the beauty of the Power BI dashboard. So let's bring everything together, everything that we've done so far. So first of all, we started looking at the overall numbers, which is the KPIs. And then from there, we identified a clear upward trend uh, in our cases. And then we saw that Lagos was the most affected cases. And we also been able to observe that Abuja um, has been able to catch up with this particular outbreak. And then we also been able to see, identify that mobility is a key driver for this particular outbreak. And then finally, we have been able to project what might happen next in this particular data set if everything keeps on going the way it is. This is exactly how data analysts turn data into actionable insights. And from these insights, you can now start making recommendations for the organization. So if I was to give you this, after looking at this dashboard, we can be able to see that mobility, the more people move from one place to another, the more diseases keep on spreading. And if we continue to leave this the way it is, disease is projected to keep on increasing more and more. So from here, you can now start recommending very, very good recommendations for the organization. The organization can start doing things like maybe lockdown. We've heard lockdown from the COVID time, and that is essentially what we are seeing. Okay, so in cases like this data set, lockdown is something that is also going to help, maybe to control movements in the high risk areas like Lagos and Abuja. If there can be partial lockdown or maybe full lockdown, to be able to contain this disease. So all these things are recommendations that we can be able to give this organization from your data sets, right? So that is wonderful. That is wonderful. We've been able to do a very important thing today. So everything that I've shown you so far is exactly what data analysts do in a real world scenario, in real world roles. So they take raw data, they turn it into insight, and they help organizations make smarter decisions. And the truth is this isn't even as complicated as it looks, okay? With the right guidance, anyone can be able to learn how to do this. And that is what we offer here at Analytics, okay? So that's why we created our training program to help beginners go from zero knowledge to confidently building dashboards like this, right? So we teach you step by step how you can be able to use tools like Excel, SQL, Power BI, Python, and how you can analyze data and how you can work on real projects that actually matter. Okay, so that is going to help you to be ready. That's going to build your skills. That is going to make you in high demand for industries like healthcare, finance, and even other sectors that might be requiring your services. Okay, so if this is something that interests you, then I would like you to keep on watching, keep on following up. I'm going to, just like I said at the beginning of this master class, we have a very important information for you and me that is looking at me right now. For you that is looking at me right now, we have a very important information for you towards the end of this slide. Okay, I hope you had an amazing session so far. If you really enjoyed this dashboard and how we're able to collect this data and build this dashboard, I want you to leave a reaction. Leave a reaction if you really, really, really enjoyed this particular section so far. If you really, really enjoyed this particular session, leave a reaction. Okay, so now let's keep on moving. Let's keep on moving. Let's what? Let's keep on moving. All right. So we've seen the report. This is essentially the report. We've seen the report and we've seen how we're able to take this data like this and build this dashboard like this. you can also be able to do this. You can be able to build a dashboard like this. That is what we offer in our program. Just like I said, we are going to take you and make you be able to build a dashboard like this that solves real problems. All right? Now, let's keep on moving. So, employers want only two things from you. Employers want only two things from you: your skills and your experience. Your skills and your experience. Okay. Skills means that you can actually do the job. Okay. Can you be able to use tools like Excel, Power BI, and analyze data? Can you be able to use these tools to solve problems? Can you be able to use these tools just like I use it now, to be able to identify key areas or solve business problem for an agency or an organization? And then also experience. Experience means, what have you done? Have you been able to do this before? Okay, not necessarily in a company, but have you been able to work on real projects? Have you been able to do what? Work on real projects. And that is where many people struggle. Okay, they learn a bit, watch videos, but they can't be able to build these skills into real projects or real experience, right? And that is what we are going to be teaching you at Analytics. We're not just going to give you the skills, we are going to be working with real projects where you are going to get hands-on experience into practical business cases that organizations are having issues with. Okay, so as a data analyst, these are the key learning areas that we are also going to be looking at. Okay, so we are going to be looking at problem solving, how you can be able to solve problems, because that is the foundation. Actually, that's the foundation of your data analysis, because you are basically solving problem for the organization, right? So you are going to take this problem, solve it for the organization. And how do you know this? We teach you all these things, how you can be able to create so many problem solving techniques to break down a problem from a big problem into small solutions and be able to solve problems. Okay, aside from problem solving, you can also be able to learn Excel with us, learn the formulas, learn how Excel works, and so many things in Excel. We can also be able to learn SQL, so which is a structured query language for database, okay, and warehouses and cloud platforms. We are going to give you that skill that can be able to use SQL to query databases and all that. And then Power BI. So Power BI is just like what we've just seen me do just 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago. Okay, so we can be able to gain knowledge and skills on Power BI, on Tableau also, which is also a very important visualization tool, and then also data storytelling. So instead of just presenting dashboard, instead of just presenting your chart, you can be able to tell a story with this data, use a narrative around this data, tell a story that is going to make anyone that is listening to you to be able to understand you and be able to know what decision to make next. And then also, very, very important, we are also going to show you how you can leverage AI in working as a data analyst. In this present situation, 2026, 2025, AI is everywhere. We're also going to show you how you can use AI like ChatGPT and all that to work as a data analyst. And then also Microsoft Fabrics for analytics. Okay, so these are all the tools that you are going to be learning as a data analyst. Of course, you are going to have classes. Your classes are going to be in the morning and also in the evening. And we have a very, very good blended approach where you have not just your live classes, but also self-paced video where you can be able to also watch videos and gain that foundational skills that you are going to be able to apply in your classes, right? And our program is a 6 months program. 8 months program, you are going to use 6 months to learn in class, and then the other 2 months is going to be for internship. Now, the best way to gain the skills that you want to land a job is to learn in a project-based environment and also to showcase your work. So learning in a project-based environment means learning by doing the real work, and that is what we offer. Okay, at Analytics, we don't just tell you learn this, watch this video, or do this or do that. We also do that using project-based environment. We put you in that situation. We put you in a situation of a data analyst working in an organization. We put you in a situation of a data analyst solving a problem. And then you can be able to see how it feels. You can be able to gain that experience. That is what we also do. And then apart from that, you also be able to showcase your work, right? So part of your learning process is also being able to build your portfolio, okay? So as you're learning, you're also building your portfolio. We build this portfolio for you so that your project and everything that you've done is also in this portfolio. You can be able to show what you have done, right? Now, how do you gain experience? How do you gain experience? How do you gain the experience that you need? How do you gain the experience that you need? First of all, by projects from class, okay? Projects from class, okay? First of all, we offer this thorough project-based learning where when you come to class, just like I said before, we're going to put you in the situation of a data analyst solving a problem, and you are going to see how it works on a day-to-day basis, okay? So we are going to be giving you all these things in class. When you come to class, you can be able to take on a project-based learning approach. And then after that, you are going to have 2 months internship with Amdari. So Amdari is our partner company in UK, where you can be able to go on and do internship, okay? Right? So you will have a unique opportunity of including Analytics and Amdari on your CV and LinkedIn. So this way, you get UK and Canada work experience. And then also show evidence of your work in a portfolio, all right? So show evidence of your work. So not just working in the class and gaining your skill and experience, but also being able to show evidence of your work in a portfolio. All these things are what we do, right? So positioning is how you stand out. Positioning is how you stand out. Positioning is how you present yourself, your skills, and your work, right? Now, the truth is this. There are thousands of people learning data analysis, okay? But only a few of them stand out, okay? Only a few of them do what? Stand out. Only a few of them stand out. So 2 people can have the same skills. 2 people, I and my friend can start this analysis, learn the skills and do all these things, but only one person can get opportunity. The other person might not, okay? It is not rocket science, okay? The difference is in how you position yourself, okay? The difference is what? In how you position yourself, right? So instead of saying, oh, I'm learning data analysis, you don't just do that. You also show your project, like, this is what I have been able to build, okay? So that is this. Opportunities don't just go to the best people, okay? They go to the people that are ready, the people that are visible. So that is why you need to what? To position yourself, okay? So positioning is how you stand out. And how do we help you position yourself, okay? Because, of course, we do all these things for you. How do we help you position yourself? By giving you these employability skills, by equipping you with these employability skills. Employability skills are skills that make you employable, that makes you job ready, okay? There are skills that do what? That make you job ready. We equip you with these employability skills, okay? So what are the employability skills? First of all, we take your CV and revamp it, okay? part of what we are also going to be doing for you, we take your CV and revamp it. Okay, so whether you are coming from a health background or you are coming from a teaching background or whatever background that you are coming from, we're going to take that CV and treat it and align it into the job that you are looking to get. Okay, and not just aligning it, you are also going to take your CV and revamp it in a way that is going to beat the ATS tracking system. Okay, all of us know about the ATS, right? So most times people complain that they don't get jobs. People complain that they don't get jobs, but they don't know that most times before your application even gets to the employer, ATS has already moved you to the side, or ATS has already trashed your application. Okay. And ATS looks at so many things, your skills and so many things before it knows who to progress to the next stage or who not to progress to the next stage. But here, we are going to give you a CV that beats ATS system, right? So that is also what we give you. And then LinkedIn optimization, right? So we are going to take your LinkedIn and also help you optimize your LinkedIn. Most people don't know, most people actually don't know that 20%, 40% of people that get jobs these days, and mostly in tech, they get jobs from LinkedIn. You see people that recruiters reach out to and say, oh, I saw your profile and I'm amazed. I love what I see. Do you mind how us having a conversation? I have an open role in my organization that I want you to fill up. All these things are what you can be able to get only when you have been able to optimize your LinkedIn. So we are going to take your LinkedIn and we are going to do what? We're going to optimize this LinkedIn for you. Optimize this LinkedIn for you. Make your LinkedIn job ready so that anyone that searches for a data analyst, your name is going to pop up there. Anyone that searches for a data analyst that knows how to work with Power BI, your name is going to pop up there. All right. So another thing is also navigating the job market. Okay. Everybody knows that navigating the job market is also very, very hard sometimes. We're also going to show you how you can navigate the job market. And now, when you also get this job, or when you actually get this interview, or when you move to the next stage, we are also going to be able to prepare you for this interview. Okay. So with us, we can be able to uh, prep you for interview, ask you likely questions that might come out for you so that we can be able to prepare you for your interview. So with us, if you are a participant with us and if you are a student, when you get this job, when you get this invitation for an interview, we are going to take you and prep you for this interview so that you can be able to pass this interview and get that job that you need, because at the end of the day, all you want is a job. And then also you have job reference letter. So when you now get this job and you need a reference letter, we can be able to vouch for you. We can be able to give you a reference letter depending on what you want the reference letter for. Okay. And then also the sixth one is also on the job support, right? So if you've gotten this job, let's say you finally gotten this job, sometimes it's not easy. In the first few months, you are going to feel like you don't even know what you're doing. You are going to feel like, am I even sure of what I'm doing? We offer on-the-job support, okay, to help you to uh, to help you to get used to your new position, help you to get used to everything that you're going to be doing, everything that is required of you in your new position, okay? So we also offer on-the-job support. And then also we have so many weekly mentorship sessions that we have. We have weekly mentorship session on navigating the job market, on LinkedIn optimization, and on so many other weekly mentorship sessions. And also we have Upwork optimization, right? So for people that want to freelance, for people that want to work with clients, we are also able to give you how you can be able to optimize your Upwork so that you can be able to get clients as many as possible. Okay, so all these things are the employability skills that we offer. All these things are the employability skills that we offer. Now, the program duration. Okay, so our program duration is 8 months, right? 8 months. So we're going to start off 6 months with us at Analytics here. Okay, and then after Analytics, we're now going to complete your 2 months at Amdari, where you're going to be doing internship, right? So we are going to start off with 6 months learning with us, where we are going to give you the skills, give you the projects, build your portfolio, and then also apply to jobs while you are learning with us. And then after that, you are now going to move on to Amdari to complete your 2 months internship. So the total of 8 months. And then mind you, you are not going to wait till the 8 months before you start getting your job, or before you start applying for this job. Even as you've started at Analytics, you can uh, uh, apply the jobs as you are also learning with us. All right. So that is what we offer. And then our classes, just like I said before, are Saturdays, morning and evening. Then you also have the videos, self-paced videos where you watch. Okay. You have mentorship sessions on Thursdays and interview preps also, right? So, and then also know this, all sessions and classes are recorded and made available to you as well. Lifetime access. So you have a lifetime access of everything that we do, everything that we've done, all the sessions, all the classes, all your videos, you have access to it till eternity. Okay, you can come back to them in the next 4 or 5 years and still watch them. Okay, so that's that. So you can't stay where you are. You have to make change in 2026. Okay, you can't stay where you are. You have to make change in 2026. Okay, now let's be real for a moment. Let's be real for a moment. You actually can't stay where you are and expect a different outcome. Okay? If nothing changes, nothing changes. Okay? So a lot of people say they want to move into tech, they want to get a remote role, they want to land a hybrid role, they want to have higher income, they want better opportunity, they want more income, but they keep doing the same things over and over again. They keep washing, they keep waiting, they keep postponing things. Okay. And the truth is, and in 2026 is not the year for you to stay comfortable. Okay. The world is changing fast. The world is what? Changing fast. The world is moving. This is not the time for you to keep on postponing or keep on waiting or keep on washing. Okay. The world is changing fast. You have to be able to change with the world. Okay. So 2026 is not your year to start being comfortable. And skills like data analysis here that we've known are becoming more and more valuable every day. Skills like data analysis are becoming more and more valuable every day. So you see, you don't need to be comfortable staying where you are. Okay. So, but now the question is this: can you do this? Can you do this? Can you actually be able to take that next step? Can you be able to take that next step towards actualizing your dream, towards actualizing your goal, towards not postponing things, towards not being comfortable? Okay. Can you be able to take that next step? Okay. You want to go into tech, you want to move into hybrid role, you want to have more income. Can you take that next step? You want to stop the work that you are doing. The work that you're doing is so stressful for you. You want to get a job that you can work from home. Can you take that next step? Because the people who take the action today, they are the ones who create the opportunities tomorrow, right? So as the world is changing, you all also have to be changing with the world, right? And now let's look at some of our people that has actually taken that next step, okay? So you see Demilare here. Demilare was a digital marketer back in Nigeria before he moved to the UK. So he wanted to get a proper job in the UK, so he joined our data analytics program, tailored his CV to a data analytics CV, joined all our mentorship sessions, got prepped for multiple interviews, built a portfolio, and then started applying for jobs. Started what? Applying for jobs. So he applied to multiple jobs consistently, tailored every CV to every application. He knew where to apply and how to apply because, of course, we teach you how to do all these things. And then in 2024, he landed a job as a sustainability analyst with BAM in the UK, right? So this can also be you. This can also be you. And then let's look at someone else. So this is Tosin from a public health background into a fraud analyst in the UK. So just like the last one, Tosin had a public health background and struggled to land a job in the UK. He worked as a volunteer with the British Heart Foundation, but he joined our data analytics program, tailored his CV, joined our mentorship session, got prepped for multiple interviews, built a portfolio, applied to multiple jobs, tailored every application, and he knew where to apply and also how to apply. In October, he landed a job as a fraud analyst in the UK. And in August 2024, he got another job as a senior fraud detection investigator with BNP Paribas in the UK. You can also be someone like this. You that is looking at me now can be someone like this, right? So make the absolute use of this opportunity that is given to you. Now, you might be asking, how can I start? How can I start today? Now, join our next cohort that is starting off in May 9th, 2026. Our next cohort is starting off in May 9th, 2026. And then remember, I said something. I said that towards the end of this session, I'm going to be sharing something that is going to be very, very important to you. Now, watch and listen very, very closely. Okay. Now, for the data analysis program is priced at $1,250. But for the first 20 people that is going to be able to register, we are offering a discounted amount of 1,000 US dollars. For the first 20 people that is going to be able to register, now the first 20, okay, only the first 20, we are offering a discount rate of 1,000 US dollars, okay? You might be wondering, how do you register? How do you do that? Go to the comment section right now and look at how you can be able to register. Okay, the first 20 people is going to be going home with a discounted price. Only the first 20 people. Okay, and then our full amount is discounted 20% off, and you can get started with as little as 200 US dollars. So you are not just paying everything fully. Even if you want to start paying on installments, you can be able to pay on installments. So you can be able to start paying $200 in 5 installments to be able to make up this $1,000, right? So you can be able to pay on installments, right? So please make absolute use of this opportunity. Grab the chance while the offer is still open, okay? So, and then there is more. There is more. Of course, we always have more, right? We always have more. Okay, so when you enroll once and get all the future updates to this course for free. So if we update the curriculum next year, you get the new versions at no extra cost. So let's say you enroll this year and you finish your program this year, okay? in the next 2, 3 years, if there is a change to the program, if we add new things to the program, because we are always innovating, we are always adding new things, you can also be able to have access to that new versions of what we've added at no extra cost. So you have everything for lifetime. You have your access for lifetime. Okay. So another one is if anything happens, because of course life happens. Okay, life happens. Tomorrow we might be stuck with work or maybe family issues or personal reasons or financial issues or anything. Life happens. So if you fall behind in our program or can't finish this cohort, you can jump into the next one for free. Okay, so let's say you started this May cohort that is coming on May 9th, and because of one thing or the other, life happens and you can't be able to finish that cohort. You can also jump into the next cohort. You can start off with the next cohort for free. That is what we offer, right? And then the next one, by the end of the 3 months, you will have at least 3 industry-ready projects that is living in your portfolio. You are going to have 3 industry-ready projects that is going to be living in your portfolio. So as you keep on learning with us, in your first 3 months, by the first 3 months of learning with us, you are going to have at least 3 industry-ready projects that you are going to use to start applying for that particular job that you want. Okay, so analytics is accredited by CPD UK and the American Council of Training and Development, right? So that is all to show you that we are certified and we are also very, very accredited. Now, let me show you how you are going to gain access and how you are going to take a full advantage of this program. Now, if you click on the link that is being shared on the comment section, you are going to come to this place, okay? So let's say you want to enroll. If you come to this website, you can be able to see, let me close this and let me close this. You can be able to see all the courses that you can enroll, okay? You can see data analytics, health tech analyst, business analyst, and all that. But then, let's say we want to enroll for data analytics, okay? So we click on enroll now. And when we click on enroll now, we can be able to get the details of everything that we need, okay? So everything that we need is here. So let's say we want to look at the curriculum. You can be able to click on this and see how the curriculum looks, what you are going to be learning, what you are going to be teaching. You see Excel, you see dashboarding with Excel, you see Power BI, you see SQL, and so many things that you are going to be learning with us in analytics. And then also, if you go to certifications, you are going to see the certifications that you are going to get at the end of learning with us, because when you are done learning with us, you are going to be certified. We are going to give you certification, of course. All right. And then you also look at our instructors. So here you are going to be able to see all the instructors that we have. Okay. You are going to see the instructor, people that are going to be taking you on this wonderful journey of being a data analyst. Okay. So we are going to see all these things. And let's say you've seen all these things, you've looked at all these things, and everything makes sense to you, and you want to make payments, you come down here and click on enroll now. So when you click on enroll now, we're now going to be prompted to sign up, okay? So because you don't have an account with us, you now have to sign up using your Google, or you can also you can also input your email here and other fields. But let's say I want to use Google to sign up, okay? Please keep on signing. Oh, I have gotten one payment. So a payment have come in already for us. Okay, so a payment has come in. So 19 slots are now waiting for you. 19 slots are now waiting for you. Right? 19 slots are now waiting. Somebody has been able to make payments right here from this session. Okay, so don't be left out. Make sure that you join the moving train. So let me continue. When you want to register, let's say you want to register, you can come in here and use your Google account to register. So it's going to prompt you to sign in and sign in with your Google account. So let's say I want to sign in with my Google account. Okay, so I can now use my Google account. So let me use this and let me also sign in. Okay. Okay. So let me sign in. Let me sign in. Let me sign in. Okay. So let me sign in. Um, okay. So give me a moment. So this is just to show you the workflow of how you can sign in. Okay. So this is just to show you the workflow of how you can sign in and get registered for this program. Okay. So once you are signed in, you are going to be landed to this place. Okay. So you can see the May cohort is the priority cohort. It starts on May 9. Okay. So you can decide to pay once or pay in 2 installments or pay in 5 installments. So let's say you want to pay in 5 installments. So that means you're going to be paying $200 in 5 installments. You select the 5 installments and you can be able to confirm you're paying $200, you're paying one. At the end of the day, everything is going to accumulate to 1,000 and the discount has been applied. Just like I said, 19 people are remaining. If you want to get this discount offer, if you want to join and be among these 19 people, use the link that is on the comment section right now and register and be able to get this discounted price. Okay. So once you're able to select everything here, you check this, that you confirm that everything is correct. You check this and then you click on pay now. Okay, when you click on pay now, you are now going to be able to use your card or use whatever, use your card to make payments. All right. So don't worry about where you are, whether you are in UK, whether you are in US, you can be able to use your card to make payments. And then you can now move ahead and make payments and continue with the rest of the payments. Okay. So this is how you confirm your details. And then when you click on pay now, it's now going to prompt you to where you now insert your card and make payment. And we now take it from there, right? So that is all for what we are going to be doing today. I am very, very sure that we'll be able to gain 1 or 2 things from this particular masterclass. So any questions before we go ahead and any questions? Any questions? Okay, so I'm seeing some questions, which is wonderful. So Sam said, when given a raw data, how do you identify which tool to deploy to analyze the data? All this is also what we also teach you, all right? Because when you have your data, depending on how your data is, depending on the requirements by the organization, and depending on how you want to present your data, that is what determines which tool that you use. So if your data is more of a very small data, then you're probably going to use Excel. Excel can do all this. But if your data is growing and growing and your data requires collaboration with so many teams, then you're going to need Power BI. Then if you now start working with database, then you're going to use SQL and so on and so forth. So all these things are also what we teach you in the program. So Anne said, can the dashboard be live? Of course, 100%. The dashboard is live. The dashboard is live. The dashboard is live, right? The dashboard is 100% live. You can be able to post this dashboard. Someone can be able to interact with this dashboard. Someone can be able to click and understand what is going on and be able to know what is going on, right? So any other questions, drop them on the comment section and I'm going to take them, right? So that's that for today's mentorship. Thank you all for having me. And please, I'm very, very sure that we are able to take one or two things from what we've been able to do today. I'm very, very sure that the session was nice and the project that we learned was also very, very nice. So thank you all for a very wonderful session and see you guys very soon. See you guys on May the 9th. Make sure that you register, make sure that you click the link and make sure that you have access to all these materials. Okay, so thank you all and have a very wonderful day.